I know you've written a series of articles how any of the four can win the job still. Just take us through a snippet of how each of these four guys could potentially still be the starting quarterback.
Well, we can start with Joe Flacco, and Joe Flacco can win this starting job by just lighting it up in camp with those explosives. That is his superpower, those explosive plays. So if he's lighting it up with Jerry Jeudy and he's lighting it up with David Njoku and Harold Fannin and Cedric Tillman, that's going to go a long way towards him winning that starting job on opening day. What you give up with Joe, that you gain in the explosives, you give up some of the quarterback movement ability. So he's not going to be running RPOs. He's not going to be taking off and running with the ball. He's not going to be doing as many of those things as Kenny Pickett can do. So, you would be not as creative. You're going to be a little bit more basic on your offense, but you can also potentially be more explosive. What you have to worry about, of course, with Joe are the interceptions, and he throws too many of them. He turned the ball over too much in Indianapolis, and the Browns have a good offensive line, so he's going to be protected, but he'll have to be because he's fairly stationary back there, and he's going to have to learn to hang on to the ball when he gets sacked.
When you look at Kenny Pickett, so how does he, and you mentioned he's a little bit more mobile, how does he win it?
Yeah, with Kenny Pickett, that will be one of the things that Kenny does well. His superpower will be that mobility, the ability to run a more creative offense, to do some different concepts, to run some more of those RPOs, to run the ball a little bit more, and to just focus on some rollouts and some bootlegs and quarterback movement. That is what he does very well. He's also a good game manager, and he doesn't really turn the ball over much. Most of his interceptions in his career have come in his rookie season when he was still working out the kinks. He hasn't thrown many interceptions since that rookie season. And that's one of the things that the Browns really admire and like about him, the ability to protect the football. They gave it away far too often last year. They ended up bottom of the barrel in turnover differential. That's going to lose you a lot of games. And if they can get that turned around, then they should be able to win, I think, twice as many games as they won last year.
The other thing about Pickett that a lot of fans either don't know or don't want to recognize, he has 4 or 6 fourth quarter comebacks in his 15 wins. So there's a certain
Yes.
clutch thing that takes.
Yes, he does have that it factor. He's a gamer when it comes to that. I wrote that in my "How Can Kenny Win the Job" story. So yes, he does have that ability to do that, and we will start to see better Kenny when he gets into more 2-minute drills in practice, when he gets into the joint practices against his former Eagles team, and of course against the Panthers, and when he gets into some games. And I think that that's when he'll be able to improvise a little bit and maybe run some of those off-schedule plays and things like that. So those are some of the things that he can do well.
The two rookies, I mean, they've got to make up some ground if they're going to win the job.
Yeah, they do because they're not going to get as many reps as you would normally get if you're a rookie and you want to go out there and try to start week one. They're not going to get as many of those reps. So that's something to keep an eye on as we move forward here. But when we talk about Dylan Gabriel, the thing about Dylan Gabriel, his superpower, if you will, is just his processing speed and his computer-like brain. I keep hearing it over and over and over. There are other quarterbacks in the league that you hear about that can process like that, and that is supposedly what Dylan can do best. We'll have to see how it translates to the field and how it translates to the pro game. But if you remember when we first asked Tommy Rees, what's the most important trait he looks in a quarterback, and he mentioned processing speed and decision making. And that is what sets Dylan Gabriel apart. So we'll have to see how that goes. They were very happy with his spring ball. Kenny and Dylan were tasked in the spring with taking on sort of the brunt of the installation of the offense. It was up to them to help figure out what was going to work in the new scheme and what could they throw out. So it might not have always looked efficient and as pretty as they hope it will look during a game, but nonetheless, this was part of the pruning process of the new playbook.
So let's turn our attention a little bit to Quinshon Judkins. A lot of fans have been critical of the Browns' research in getting draft picks the last several years that have some legal issues. I know you wrote an article. The Browns have taken steps to address domestic violence over the last 2 seasons and why there's more to do. Take us through that and your article there.
Well, real quick, if you don't mind, can I just dial it back to
Sure.
Shador because I did get a chance to talk about what his superpower is and where he's at. But he did actually again come through in the last 2 weeks this season of spring ball in OTAs and the minicamp. And the thing that he did well and does really well is he's extremely accurate. He's very, very accurate, and he goes to the right place with the ball and he gets it there and he throws a really catchable ball. I remember talking to him about that at his showcase where he talked about the fact that, yeah, he can put more heat on the ball, but if a guy's not going to be able to catch it, what good is that going to do him? So he can vary his ball speed and vary his arm angles and different things. He's got nice arm talent, a good strong arm, and a very catchable ball and very, very accurate. So that's his superpower, and he should be able to display and showcase that.